People who leave perfectly good, stable jobs to build a business from scratch have, well, they've always fascinated me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the odds of failure are just massive.
Right, massive. Yet they do it anyway. So today, we're doing a deep dive into the mechanics behind that leap, pulling from our introductory business textbook sources.
Yeah, we're unpacking Chapter 5, looking at the core principles of entrepreneurship. Basically, how founders turn these highly risky opportunities into sustainable companies.
Companies that actually drive the U.S. economy.
Exactly. And the central theme we see across all the data on business formation is that the initial inspiration, that light bulb moment, is really only half the battle.
Yeah.
What separates the survivors from the statistics is, well, the execution.
Which brings up a really important distinction the research makes, right? The difference between an entrepreneur and a small business owner.
Right, because people use those terms interchangeably all the time.
Yeah. They do, but the mindset is completely different. I like to think of it as the difference between driving a speedboat and operating a local ferry.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, like an entrepreneur is the speedboat. They're fast, constantly pivoting, and obsessed with massive long-term growth.
Disrupting the waters, essentially.
Exactly. But a small business owner is the ferry. They're steady, they serve a crucial daily need for the community, but they are perfectly happy staying local instead of, trying to conquer the ocean.
And that mindset dictates their entire risk profile. Because the popular myth is that speedboat drivers, the entrepreneurs, are these reckless gamblers who just bet the farm on a wild idea.
Right.
But the data actually shows successful founders are moderate risk takers.
Wait, moderate? Putting your life savings into a startup sounds like the definition of an extreme gamble. How is that moderate?
Well, it's extreme to an outsider. But to the founder, I mean, they aren't relying on luck.
Okay, so what are they relying on?
They mitigate that extreme risk by pairing their passion with hard managerial and technical skills. They aren't just visionary dreamers. They know how to organize the work, manage the daily operations, and actually steer the boat when the water gets rough.
But steering a speedboat is incredibly dangerous without a navigation chart. Vision without a roadmap, usually it just ends in a crash.
Which is exactly why you need a plan.
Right, and that actually brings us to our word of the day, the business plan.
A crucial term.
Yeah, and since we're looking past the basic definition of just like a startup pitch, the real function of a business plan is essentially a stress test.
Exactly. It forces founders to quantify their assumptions. A formal written statement detailing the target market, operational logistics, and financial projections. It moves the idea out of their head and subjects it to reality.
It's the bridge between visionary ideas and practical execution.
Right. The Auntie Anne's pretzel empire is a great example from the sources of this mechanism at work.
Oh, I love Auntie Anne's.
Right. But they didn't magically grow from a single farmer's market stand into an international franchise just because they had a good recipe.
Oh, of course not.
They scaled because their business plan forced them to standardize. To franchise successfully, you have to document the supply chain logistics, the baking procedures, the store layout.
So that an investor in another state can replicate that exact same success.
Yes, the plan turns a local hit into a reproducible system.
And crucially, that reproducible system is what secures the fuel for the engine, which is capital, because no investor is going to fund a vague idea.
Never.
And when founders actually go to fill the tank, they face an immediate strategic tension between debt and equity financing.
It's a very delicate balancing act. Taking on debt means taking on fixed interest payments, which puts immediate pressure on a startup's cash flow.
Right, you have to pay that back no matter what.
Exactly. But selling equity trading ownership shares for funding means giving up a slice of control.
And that dynamic changes depending on who you're giving that control to. Like, an angel investor bringing their own personal seed money into an early stage idea might offer more mentorship but less cash.
Yeah, whereas venture capital firms inject massive funding into high-growth startups. But they are going to demand a really loud voice in how the company is managed.
But not every founder is aiming for Silicon Valley venture capital. For everyday entrepreneurs, the Small Business Administration, or the SBA, is the critical lever here.
Right, and it's important to note the SBA doesn't generally act as a bank handing out direct loans.
Wait, they don't?
No, instead, they provide loan guarantees to private lenders. By absorbing the risk, they incentivize regular banks to fund unproven startups.
Well, that makes sense. And they also bridge the knowledge gap, right? Programs like SCORE provide vital management mentoring.
Yes, and they actively create support channels for women, minorities, and veteran entrepreneurs who historically face higher barriers to securing that capital.
So it really all comes back to that initial idea of execution. Entrepreneurship combines spotting a market opportunity with the willingness to take a calculated risk. But survival ultimately depends on operational grit.
Absolutely. Small businesses keep our local economies running, but driving an innovative startup requires a unique blend of vision and practical management skills.
If you zoom out, though, building a business from scratch isn't the only way to apply this mindset. Like, you don't necessarily have to quit your job to be an entrepreneur.
Right, the concept of the entrepreneur flips the whole narrative.
Yeah.
You can use that exact same vision, creativity, and risk-taking to launch new products or systems inside a large, established corporation.
You get to drive the speedboat, but inside the safety of a larger corporate harbor. It completely changes the risk profile. So are you already an entrepreneur waiting to happen within your current workplace? Definitely something to think about next time you log into work.